welcome to another episode of the Rosie Rose podcast. My name is Rose Kun, and today we have a special guest, the founder of Unlock the Day, Warren Lieff. He started the Unlock the Day to share his personal experience and insights on lifestyle and wellness. After struggling and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, he wanted to create a platform that encourages and inspire others to unlock their potential and live a better life. Passionate about exploring new places, trying new things, and living life to the fullest, Warren uses Unlock the Day to inspire others to step out of their comfort zone and embrace adventure. His philosophy is simple: life is meant to be enjoyed. We should make the most of every moment. So join us as we chat with Warren about his journey, mission, and the impactful work he is doing with through unlock unlock the day. All right, get ready to get inspired and empower and unlock your own potential. Warren, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since we've even connected, so this is great. I appreciate I appreciate you letting me be here.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become who you are today?
Yeah, so I was I was in a relationship for 35 years, and I was married for 31, and now divorced 6 years. And those 6 years and so that my divorce happened when I was 58, and it was really my transformational period of time to figure out what I was going to do when I grew up, right? I mean, at 58, I'm trying to figure out who I am. Um, but it was a really important time. And, I don't want to get into too much detail perhaps, but I had this moment about 6 months before I had started the divorce process where my family and I were supposed to go to a wedding, and it was Memorial Day weekend. It was like, it's one of these things that's clear in your mind. And we were going to leave on a Friday night. And not only was I in a really bad relationship, but I was working at a really horrible company. So I hated my job and I hated coming home. And it was that terrible dynamic of like, there was no good time, right? Because you went from a bad day to a bad night, and it was just this rolling thing. And I was driving home from work, heading, to pick up my family for the wedding. And I just said to myself, I can't do this. Like I'm just done. And I think everyone has that done moment in their life for whatever it happens to be. And I walked in the house and I said, you know what, guys, I got to go. And they're like, yeah, we're ready to go. I'm like, no, 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 I need to go. I need to get away. And they're like, you can't do it this week. I said, no, I literally need to go. And I literally threw some clothes in a bag. And I got in the car. We had this big fight, and I knew that I was in this mental place where I had to do something. And so I got in the car, and I live in Connecticut, and the next state east of us is Rhode Island. So I got in the car, and I hadn't planned on it, but I just got on I-95 and I drove, and just over the border in Rhode Island is a town called Watch Hill, and it's right on the Atlantic Ocean. And I sat there, Rose, for 2 days, and I just kind of cried for 2 days. Like every emotion I had in my body came out: the good, the bad, the successes, the failures. And I got in the car on Sunday to come home, and I had this like mindset of like, okay, I got it. After 58 years, I got it. And I came home, and we again, my former and I had this battle about me leaving over the weekend. And I said, I think we need to really talk about where we're going. But I didn't want to just right then and there say it's over. I wanted to have a plan. I needed to have a plan for not just me, but for the family, like what was going to happen. And it took about 6 months before I finally sat her down and said, okay, we're done. This is it. And for the most part, the plan went as I thought it was going to go, except when it came to my kids. So my kids at the time were 27 and 22. And I'm thinking, man, they have their entire life. They've seen the relationship, right? They're going to get it. They're going to understand. I couldn't have miscalculated that more than I did. And they were just so mad at me. And it took years to rebuild their relationship back. And I think it's probably 85 or 90% back after 6 years, but it's such a hard thing. But I never look back. I never regretted that decision because it was the right thing for everyone. And she's actually in a much better place now too. But so that was the birth of Unlock the Day. That was the birth of me and who I was going to become. And what I realized was that I had been miserable for so many years. I wasn't even sure what happiness was. Like what is happiness? Like what really makes you happy? And it was just like that's when I learned about gratitude and daily affirmations and how important gratitude is. And so the first thing I started, I had never done this before in my life. I did two things. One was I learned to journal because journaling was this, it just opened my eyes because for so many years, all the emotions that I had, I kept inside. I didn't know what to do with all these feelings that I had. And my head was just so cluttered that I had no clarity because I just had everything going on. When I started to journal and I got all those emotions on paper and I just put everything that I had every day, I was like, oh my God, like the clarity wasn't immediate, but there was this path to every day things got better. And I end my journal and I still journal 6 years later every day. I end it with three things I'm grateful for every single day because I think gratitude is the key. And as we'll talk through it, many people say to me, my life is so miserable. I have nothing to be grateful for. And I said, we're talking right now, aren't we? And he said, yeah. And I said, that's something to be grateful for. You have another day to do whatever it is you want to do in your life. So don't minimize how important it is to open your eyes in the morning. That is the thing that I'm most grateful for. Every morning I get up, every morning I open my blinds and I look outside and I'm grateful that I'm here for another day. And people just have this tendency to be so within themselves that they can't look at the bigger picture. They can't look at the simple, important things in life. But that's what I learned very early on in journaling was the importance of getting my emotions on paper, coming to terms with who I was. Like, I'm not perfect. Right? I made a huge amount of mistakes, but what I've learned is that I can't turn off regret, right? Regret is there. And so you either accept what happened and say, you know what, it's a learning lesson, or you let it destroy your ability to move forward. And again, it took me years to realize that I lived with regret. Like regret held me back because I almost said to myself, well, I don't want to take a chance because if I do something, I'm going to regret that I did it. But if I don't do something, I'm going to regret that I didn't take that chance. So now every time I do something, I do it with the mindset of it. If I fail, it's okay because I'm learning something from that process. At least I took that chance. So much of my past and so much of the regret that I had was that I didn't take the opportunity. I had such a lack of confidence in myself and such low self-esteem because of everything I went through. I never took the chance. And now it's like the relationship I'm in, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, you know what? We're going for it. You know what? Let's see what the worst thing is we can fail. And if it's not even a monetary thing, who cares? We'll just fix it and we'll move forward. And it just that freedom of choice, that freedom to do something is really for me a game changer. So journaling was really important. And then having a daily routine. I have a morning routine. And I tell people that my morning routine is 7 days a week. I know a lot of people that have like a Monday through Friday routine because they work. Now, my routine is every single day. And one of the things that it really inspires me is your gym videos because like you're so into your gym videos. I started at the gym about 2 years ago now, and I go Monday through Friday, and it's 90 minutes a day. And it is not just a physical thing for me, Rose. It's a mental thing for me, right?
Yes.
Because it is, for me, it's like I know a lot of people at the gym and they want to talk. They want to make it a social hour. And I'm like, I love you guys. And if you guys want to go out for a drink, you want to go out for a dinner, that's great. But these 90 minutes are mine. Leave me alone. And I say it with no disrespect, but these are my 90 minutes because it clears my head. Like I'm
Yes.
so into what I'm doing and I'm so intentional about when I started at the gym, I was looking at guys that are lifting these weights and I'm going, I'll never get to that level. Right. And now 2 years later, I've got people looking at me going, how are you doing that? I'm like, you know, it's that daily. And I say to people, the gym is like anything else in life. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to go from lifting a certain weight to another weight in a week. If you are, you're never going back to the gym. So be patient with yourself and have that plan and stick to your plan, adjust it as you need to, but give yourself time and watch that progression because the progression's huge. And it is as much brought me better mental focus as it has physical strength. So the gym to me is a huge part of my morning routine. And I talk to people all the time about they say, oh, the gym is too expensive. Well, not to market anybody, but I go to Planet Fitness and it's literally $10 a month. And I'm like, you know what? Don't get that cup of coffee and pay for your gym membership. You know, it's that simple. And for $10, I go what 20 some odd days a month, and it's the best thing you can do. So it's priorities too. It's what's really important to you and what's really not important to you, and that's part of the whole process.
Yeah. And especially when you say about the gym, because I think when I first started in this personal development or learning about myself, first was journaling. It was
Yep.
journaling, and then I got into meditation, and then meditation, I got into working out. And then I just fell in love with, group classes because that's
Yep.
what I started with. And to this day, I put out the videos because I am not the strongest one at the gym at all, but I am the one that records myself because, it's just to me, it's just an example like, hey, you can start anywhere. You can
Right.
be, you don't have to be that strong. To me, putting those videos is a motivation for myself, is keeping myself
Exactly.
accountable. And I do it, you know, it helps other people like, oh yeah, you really, inspire me. Like, I should go work out. I should go work out. I'm like, yeah, because it's like the mental thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It is such a it's a discipline, right? And I don't record myself because for me the gym is very personal. And so I don't share it. I know a lot of people at the gym, they have their cameras set up and their little tripod, and that's fine. And again, what you do does actually inspire me and motivate me to want to do more. But my gym time is such a I don't even want to like deal with setting up the camp. Like I just get in there and some days my son goes with me, other days he doesn't, but he's like, Dad, you're just so intense. I'm like, yeah, because I know what my day is going to be like. And this is for me. And I leave there absolutely exhausted. I really put everything out there for those 90 minutes. And I come back and I'm like, let's go. Your mindset is so, and I get to the gym between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning. And people like, and for me, what's crazy is when I'm getting to the gym, there's actually people leaving, and I'm like, God bless you guys that get to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know how you do it, um, but that's a thing. And so I tell people, listen, I happen to be a morning person, but there's nothing wrong with you going to the gym at lunchtime or after work. And you know what? Even if you only go a couple days a week, it doesn't matter. Everybody's routine is what's best for you. So don't look at my routine and say, "Oh, I want to do that." Because it might not work out for you. And then if it doesn't work out for you, then that's when you back away and you don't go to the gym because it isn't what's right for you. So what I do tell people is try different things, see what works best for you. And it's just in life in general, right? What works for me isn't necessarily going to be the best model for you. Be true to yourself. Do whatever it is that works for you, that makes you feel good about you, because that's what the gym is really all about. It's making you feel good about you physically and mentally. So just try until you get to that niche that really works out best.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I tell people too is like try all kinds of exercise,
Right.
do Pilates, do yogas, do boxing, whatever it is, because in that outlet, you will find that one that you really are drawn to. And
Yes.
then when you're drawn to that, it becomes easy. Like, oh, I
Right.
want to do this versus, oh, I have to get up, I have to go to the gym and drag on. Like, find something that you love. And for
Yes.
me, after working out I found out that I love lifting weights, and it's just
There you
like,
go.
right there, like, oh, can I go like like 1 pound heavier?
Exactly, exactly. And it's funny to me that there's a couple weeks ago there's a young woman who's at the gym pretty much every day that I'm there, and we see each other every day. And a couple weeks ago, she came over to me. She said, "I just want to let you know that," and I love this term, "at your age, you're really good." And I'm like, I think I'm going to take that as a backhanded compliment, but thank you very much. She said, "No, no, no, it really is a compliment. You're here every day and you're very diligent about it. And it helps me to, to kind of motivate myself. So thank you." I'm like, but that's the nice thing that you get out of the gym, is that there is that recognition, not only for yourself, but other people. If you can motivate other people to do the same thing. And actually one of the people that I go to the gym with, that I start off in saying, he's a very social guy. And so he's walking around and he's there 45 minutes and maybe he's working out 15, and the rest he's just talking to people. And one day I said to him, "You know what? I get it. And it's your life. And I'm certainly not going to tell you if you enjoy that, but I don't even know that it's really helping you." And he said, "You know what? It's not about the weights. It's not about the gym. I just like having this outlet." So it's different for everyone, Rose. It really is, but just do what makes you happy.
I love that. I love that. Um, and to talk about like for your age, but that's very inspiring because to see somebody, uh, because I started playing pickleball and it is mostly like, older, like senior people, but they show up every time I go there, they're always there.
Yep.
One time I went Monday through Friday, same old people, like, there was, like, a dozen of them that comes every day,
Yep.
and I haven't been back, so I just went back recently, like, probably 5 with 5 months of not doing pickleball, and I noticed, like, the elders, they all lost weight, like, "Oh, they got skinnier." I'm like, "Whoa." So
Wow.
and that's what they do, just that's all the exercise they do.
Yep.
It's a social thing too.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It is a huge social thing. But if that social part of it gets them to the gym and gets them healthy and keeps them active, that's the best part of it. I mean, if there's more than one benefit to going to or whatever it happens to be, that's great. I say to people, listen, if you're not a gym person, if you're truly not, we live my part of Connecticut, we're right on the water. I'm like, just go for a walk at night. Go
Yeah.
for a walk in the morning. Just move your body. Like, I know so many people, unfortunately at my age, that I have friends that their social outlet is drinking. And I'm not here to knock people drink if that's what makes you happy, but they're like, I'm on 17 different medicines and I'm constantly going to the doctor. And one day we were there, and I had stopped drinking alcohol maybe 7 or 8 months ago, just because it was part of my gym thing. And I wasn't feeling any benefit. Like I really felt really bad after I was. So, but again, not to knock if that's something that you enjoy, that's fine. But I'm sitting there one night, we're all sitting around and they're going kind of around the table talking about their ailments. And I'm like, and they all have like multiple drinks. I'm like, guys, do you, like, is it not obvious to you? And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "I don't want to ruin our friendship. I don't. But look at you guys. You're all drinking and you're all overweight and you all feel like terrible. And guys, you know what? And not one of you goes for a walk at all, except when you're walking in and out of the bar or the restaurant." I'm like, you know what? This is not rocket science. This is your life. And you're not 25 anymore. Sorry, guys. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not. You know what? When you're in your 50s and 60s, your body's different. Your metabolism slows down, and your body in general is just slowing down. And until you get it moving again, you're never going to feel better. I mean, you're just going to digress, and that's just the reality of life. So if you want to move yourself forward, get your body active. However it is you want to do it. And got a couple friends that they bought bicycles and now they're going for bike rides. And I'm like, you know what? That's the best thing in the world. Just get out there and do it. But
Yeah.
but the message always is, Rose, do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, you want to wake up happy and you want to go to bed happy. And it doesn't happen every day. Life is life. And, for the past month for me, life has definitely not been great. But gratitude, I'm going to just go back to gratitude for a minute, because when I really get down on myself, I start looking at my gratitude list and I start going back to, man, I have two incredible kids and I have this wonderful person in my life. And I have my mom, who's 91, is still, I have all these things to be grateful for. So suck it up and stop feeling sorry for yourself and move yourself forward. And for 58 years, Rose, I never did that. Like I would have these daily pity parties, right? And I would just feel bad for myself. And then I would make stupid decisions, right? I would feel bad for myself. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this thing because it makes me happy. It made me happy for a couple of days, and then I was miserable. Not only didn't I really like the thing, but now I'm in debt because I bought something I shouldn't have bought in the first place, but I thought it was going to bring me happiness. And so that external happiness can really be very detrimental. And I think whatever outlet you happen to choose to make you happy is never going to make you happy until you feel it from inside. So that's kind of what I talk to people about is what do you do to make yourself happy? And 9 times out of 10, it is something toxic. It is something that isn't good for them that they think is going to make them happy. And it's this temporary happiness. And then they're right back to where they were because they don't understand what it means to really be happy inside and the importance of loving yourself. And, guys have this, for whatever reason, guys have this problem of loving themselves. They think, they have to give external love. It's okay to love other people, but no, I don't know how to do that. And so we talk about that all the time is be proud of who you are. Yes, you've made mistakes in your life. And I use myself, I'm very transparent about what I've done right and wrong in my life because I want other people to understand that it is what it is, right? As bad as my life was, it's 180 degrees different now. And so that's the important thing is you don't want to necessarily shove those 58 years into a closet and close the door and never go back. But if you don't close that door a little bit and just look forward, that, those demons are going to come out and they're going to kind of run your mind. So for me, it's like, I get it. I don't even think about the past anymore, to be honest, because it's so hard to think about the past for me. And so now it's like, well, what have I done these past 6 years? Where have I gone? And what are the accomplishments? And that's my focus, right? That's what drives me forward is not the past, but it's today and the future and what I have to look forward to. And so that's a lot of my message is we all make mistakes. We all have those demons. We all have those issues. But until you come to terms with them and understand that you're human, and at the moment, you probably thought you were doing the right thing, right? And that's the other thing is in that moment, you thought for right, wrong, good or bad, this is what I need to do. Well, it was the wrong decision. That's okay. It happens, right? So how do you fix that? How do you change your mindset to not make those same mistakes again?
Ooh, I love that. And so when somebody is just like beating themselves up, like hating or regretting like those mistakes that they made, how do you forgive yourself in that moment? How do
Right.
you yeah,
Yeah.
what's your
So
process of that?
that's the biggest thing is forgiveness, forgiving yourself and saying, and that's typically what I tell people is in that moment that you made that decision, 9 times out of 10, you truly believed you were making the right decision. You were doing what you thought was best. And sometimes what happens is you make those decisions. Sometimes they're spiteful decisions. Sometimes it's like somebody did you wrong. So you're going to do them wrong because you think that's going to make you feel better. That's, and I get that. I've been there before. So now I talk about this all the time now. It's for me, it's called the phrase is pause, process, and act. And I say if you just do that, if you're in the moment, if you're in a situation and you don't know what to do, instead of reacting, just pause for a minute, just step back and stop. Process what it is that you're dealing with and what you're going through. Think about how you want to make the situation better and then act upon it. Because so much of my past and so much of the past that I talk to people about is a reactive thought, a reactive decision. It wasn't a thought out decision. In the moment they reacted and they did something, and almost every time it was had a negative outcome. So now what I teach people is, if you just pause, just stop, just take a breath, as we did at the beginning of this episode, a couple of deep breaths, let your body calm down. Think about, and for me, quite honestly, Rose, I always have my phone with me. I'll just type out what it is that I'm going through. Like, that's part of the journaling act. Is the more I get things on paper, the more I look at what it is that I'm dealing with, then I can think more logically and say, okay, here's what I need to do. And then I act upon it. There are moments when you can't do that, but for the most part, you can. For the most part, you can take that 5 minutes, because normally that's all you need is a few minutes to really go through that process. And then when you take those actions, they're the right actions, or they're the best actions that you can take in the moment, because they're not reactive, they're proactive decisions. And that's what's really important. It's the difference between being reactive and being proactive.
Yeah, because you mentioned that first you need the awareness. And I love that you
Right.
type it on your phone, because that is like what you're thinking of at that moment. And so you when you go back, you can reflect on what was happening. And now that
Yeah.
you have given it space, you can see like from a third person view of like what's happening. And I love that, because that is like a sign of growth. And that is how, we grow, is that
Mm,
reflection, and we learn from it. Because a lot of people can have experience throughout their life, but they don't learn from it because they don't reflect
that's
on
right.
what is happening.
And when you talk about reflection, from a journaling perspective, every Saturday morning I go back and I read my journal for the week, because typically in my journal, it's not just what I'm thinking, it's what I want to accomplish. What do I want to get done this week? And so every day is, what did I do? What didn't I do? And why didn't I do it? Because that's really important too. Is, yeah, you have this plan, you want to get all this stuff done, but life happens and maybe you only did two or three of the things that you wanted. So on Saturday, I go back and say, oh, this really worked out well. Oh, and this really didn't. Why didn't? Like, what was in my mindset that kept me from not doing something that I wanted to do? And still to this day, there are things where I have this, because I have the past, right? And so I'm skeptical of doing something, because I'm not really sure of the outcome. As much as I plan about it and I think about it, I'm like, do I want to make that financial decision? Like, there's part of me that says, for so long I was in this negative financial situation, it's kind of scary to do something. And so, even though it's a good thing to do, as an example, I want to increase the amount that I put in my 401k. Getting to my age, I mean, that's really important, right? But part of me says, I need to use the money today. So I'm not going to put it, even though I know that the right thing to do is to save it and put in my 401k and let it grow. I'm skeptical because, well, then I can't take the money out. What if I need the money? So those kind of games play in my head. And even to this day, they still play in my head. Like, I sometimes I'll play the what if situation in my head. Well, what if I do this and what if I don't? And the struggle is knowing that you should do it. Like, it's more of, what if I did versus what if I didn't? Because the what if I didn't is that regret motor kind of taking over and saying, if I don't do this, then it's safe, right? But in reality, it's not safe, because I'm not doing the right thing for the longer term. So being safe isn't always being safe. Sometimes safe is really the wrong decision. But until you get your mindset to shift to say, here's why it's the right decision and here's why you want to do it. And that's where PPA comes in. That's where pause, process, act comes in, because it allows you to kind of step back and go, what are the pros and cons? What are the right things to do? When you're in a situation, I talk to guys all the time about that have been in a situation for so long. they're terrified to take a chance. They're literally terrified to say, I don't want to fail again. And my message to them is that it's okay to fail because you're doing the right thing and you're going to learn from it and you're going to adjust and adapt to it because you don't want to not do it and then go 3 months, man, I wish I did that. And I talk to people all the time and go, I had this opportunity and I was afraid and I didn't take it. And now I'm regretting that I didn't. And I'm like, that's what we need to get you over. We need to get you over that hump one little thing at a time. And it kind of goes back to the gym, right? You're doing 50 pounds. I can do 55, but it's easier and safer if I stay at 50. But if I do 55, look at how much better I'm going to feel because, I've taken that next step. Those baby steps are really important. And the other thing, and before I don't want to ramble too long, but the other thing that I talk about people is you don't need to take that giant leap, right? Giant leaps are usually a bad thing. Baby steps, one step at a time, one brick at a time is going to get you to where you want to be. So often we think we have to take this huge leap and we miss all these other parts in between. And that's typically what's going to get you in trouble. So think about what it is that you want to, and it's really like the gym. Every day is a little bit more of a progression until you get to where you want to be. Don't think you're going to go in the gym and lift 300 pounds because, it's not going to work. And it's going, and life is the same way. Don't try to bite off that big thing I want to win. Little steps at a time is your best progress.
Yeah, and I feel that the little step at a time, we can see what steps we can take versus,
Right.
trying to lift 300 pounds. Like maybe, yeah, you can envision it and do it, but your body is not going to be able
Right.
to lift that. And I love that. And I feel like, cause I've been going to the gym for, I think 6, 7 years now. There's seasons of my life where sometimes it's really hard to go to the gym. Like
Yeah.
it's just like a season of mine where like like it's challenging. So I have to
Yeah.
learn to like push myself to go. So uh I don't want to say in your age group. But Warren, so like how do people uh around your age, how how is it hard for them to change, do you think?
It's incredibly hard. And the biggest obstacle, Rose, is that people use age as their excuse. Right?
Mm.
This is what I hear all the time. I'm 50 years old. I'm 55 years old. I've been doing it for so long. I'm like, you can't change. I forget that you can't change your colors. And my comment is, if that's your mindset, you're right. You're never going to change. If you are that closed minded to think that I said, the other thing I say to people is, let's just say, hypothetically, you live to 80 years old and you're 50. How do you want to spend the next 30 years of your life? Because that's what you need to decide right now is what is the next 30 years of your life going to look like? If you want to be miserable and if you want to feel sorry for yourself and you want to have a daily pity party, that's fine. That's your decision. But you have 30 years to live your best life. Maybe the past 50 weren't as great as you wanted them to be, but you have this blank canvas in front of you and you can make these next 30 years whatever you want them to be. The important thing is make it your life. Yes, you want to do the right thing for the people around you, but, and I say to them, listen, there's a difference between being truly selfish and practicing self care. And what you're doing right now for the next 30 years is practicing self care. Because I will tell you, when I was miserable for 58 years, everyone around me was miserable. I couldn't do the right things for the people around me. I thought I was doing the right things because I was so miserable. Like I was literally, I call it comfortably numb. Like I was living comfortably numb for a really long time and I was going through the motions. And now what I tell people is the happier you are, the better state of mind you are, that energy, you either have negative energy that you are going to transmit to other people, or you're going to have positive, high energy that you're going to transfer to other people. How are those people going to react? Like if you're just miserable, everyone's going to see you're miserable and they're going to be down. if they see you high energy and they see you in a good place, they're gonna feel that. Like law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, it's reality. People say to me all the time, even 6 years later, "You're a totally different person. What did you do?" I said, "I started practicing self-care. I started loving myself and being proud of who I am. And you know what? You're feeling that energy, and that's exactly where everyone needs to be." So, yes, the past 50 years of your life might not have been great, but when you start caring about yourself and making yourself your priority, because a lot of people don't make themselves their priority because they think it's selfish. And I'm like, no, it's not. So, yes, taking care of yourself is the most important thing you can do for yourself. And it's called self care. And you need to practice it. It is so important that you put yourself first and not think about it as being selfish and not doing for others. Because the more you do for yourself, the better place you're in, the better you're going to do for everyone else around you. So it's a mind shift thing of going from selfish, oh, this is all about me, to the more I do for me, the more I can give back to other people.
Oh, I love that. And it comes back to gratitude, to,
Yeah.
just seeing all the good things happening. Because for gratitude, it's like you said, you write three things that you're grateful for in the morning.
Right.
And one journal, I actually, okay, I'm gonna cut it to my mother-in-law. She's like think in her 70s, and I bought her a gratitude journal. And she said that she didn't use it until like months later. She picked it up, and then she, I don't know, done maybe like a month or two, and she noticed a shift. And then she called
Yep.
me. She's like, "Hey, I noticed the change of just this simple thing of just writing three things you're grateful for, and then three things of what made you happy or smile, like for
Right.
the day." And
Yeah.
it's just that little shift.
It's so simple, Rosa. And people think that it's this big thing. It's not. It's just gratitude is whatever you're really, think of it the simple things. So, going back to the gym, get to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. The hardest thing is putting your feet on the floor, right? Because, in February when it's 10 degrees out and it's snowing, the last thing you want to do is get out of bed and go to the gym. But I put my feet on the floor and it's like this mind shift set. Like it's just, I'm up. Thank God. I got another day to go to the gym. You know what? It's great. And again, I look out the window and even in February when it's dark and it's whatever, there's trees in front of me and the sun's starting to come. It's just like this, wow, this is my day. To whatever is going to be, this is my day. The simpler the gratitude for me, the better, right? Don't make gratitude something great and don't make gratitude. Everyone has their own thing that they want to be grateful for, and that's fine. I never make gratitude materialistic. I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for that's great. Good for you. Congratulations on whatever it is that you've accomplished. But I don't base my gratitude on materialistic things. I base my gratitude on the very simple things. Like this Saturday, I get to see my mom, who's 91. I'm so grateful for that. She's here to celebrate birthdays. I'm so grateful for that. It's those little things that I think ground you and make you, some people don't like this
Yeah.
phrase. I think it makes you a better person when you have that level of gratitude, when you truly appreciate the little things, because it's going to make the bigger things that you have even better. But
Yes.
and the other thing that is so important to me is giving back. I think giving back to others is the highest form of gratitude, right? Because when you have the ability to give back to other people, be it through volunteering, being through whatever philanthropy it may be, when you do it for the right reasons, when you don't do it for the tax write off, right? You do it because you're making someone's life better. That is the ultimate, to me, ultimate gratitude, that you're in a position, and it doesn't have to be a financial thing. You can go work at a homeless shelter, work in a soup kitchen. You can give somebody on the corner. I don't want to talk about this too much, but I get a lot of pushback from people that say you shouldn't give money to people standing on a street corner because they're just going to use it and buy drugs. Okay, maybe they will. But if that's what gets them through their day, I can't change their life completely. But if they come to my car and I hand them $1 and they're like, "You made my day. Thank you so much." I'm good. However they spend that dollar, that's up to them. I can't necessarily control their life, but it brings me a little bit of gratitude that someone smiled because I did something for them today. Good, bad, right or wrong, somebody smiled, and for me, that's a good thing.
I love that. And giving back could be, like making somebody dinner.
That's yeah.
It's like simple things. It doesn't have to be, food is a love language. Yeah. And
Yeah,
so,
no, I mean, it's shoveling your neighbor's driveway in the winter because
yes.
they're elderly and it's not you're just doing something out of kindness and out of goodness and you're just trying to give back to someone. Whatever happens to make you happy, that's going to make them happy, that's a win all the way around.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so, Warren, what does 5 years look for you? What does it look like for you?
For me, it is for me, it's not doing my day-to-day job. So, I'm also blessed that for the past 6 years, because top of being, we talked about the top of the broadcast, not only was I in a bad relationship, I had a horrible job. So in 4 months, I filed for divorce. I quit my job. I sold my house. I got divorced and I got a new job, like all in 4 months. It was crazy. So now I work for Save the Children. And so I'm kind of giving back every day at work. And I love what I do because it's really not work, but I want to do this full time. This is in 5 years. This is where I want to be talking to people full time every day and putting my corporate hat on the shelf and just making sure that I'm doing the best I can to help other people live their best life. So that's what 5 years from now looks like.
I love that. I love that. And I love that you have a corporate job, but then you're making the time for this.
Yeah.
And I see you doing this consistently, showing up every day. I'm like, "Oh, there's
Yeah.
Warren. Oh, there's Warren." You show up, and that is such an inspiration to see that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can do the thing if you make the time.
Yeah.
And here's an
And
example of Warren right here.
yeah, and Rose, it's listen, everyone needs their downtime, right? Everyone needs whatever. But what is downtime, right? What is some for some people, downtime is sitting on the couch watching their favorite show. It's great. Some people, it's taking their kids to a ball game. That's great. For me, my downtime is doing exactly what we're doing because that fulfills a part of my day, right? That's because it's again, as fulfilling as my corporate job is, this is even more fulfilling. And so it's not really downtime. It is downtime because I don't have the pressures of work, but I'm able to give back to people and able to interact with people. And if I just get one comment a day back into any of my social media stuff, then it was a good day, right? If I know one person is feeling better because of something that I said or did, I'm good. I don't need a million followers and I don't need 1,000 DMs. I just need one a day because then I know I'm doing something good for people. And so that's what kind of drives me every day to be there and being consistent is that I know there are people that are looking for guidance and looking for support. And I don't, it's not about the money. It's all about making sure people are in a better place and living their best life.
I love that. And what would you say to your younger self?
Go to my younger self. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
A period of time where you were struggling or just in general, like, what would you
Yeah.
say to your
So,
younger
so,
self?
so here's my younger self was, um, so self-conscious, had such low self-esteem, had made so many bad decisions that my younger self didn't know how to fix it. And my younger self was too embarrassed to ask for help. So I think my message to people is if you're talking to me, then you're reaching out for help. And that's the key. Don't go it alone because the more you go it alone and you try to fix it, the worse things are going to get because you're going to be in that whirlpool of you're never going to get yourself out of it because you don't know the best way to do it. there's no shame in asking for help. I don't care if it's financial help or if it's mental health, whatever it is that you're dealing with. The worst thing you could do is not ask for help, is to take it on yourself and put all that additional pressure on yourself and realize in 6 months you're no better off or worse than you were 6 months ago. And if you just ask that person for help, and the beautiful thing about, there's a lot of good and bad about social media, right? There's a good, bad press and bad press, but the reality is there are so many resources out there now, Rose, and so many of them are free. Reach out, take advantage. Now, you don't want to be taken advantage of, so you need to do a little bit of research on who you're talking to. But there are so many more resources today than my younger self. I would be in a totally different place today. Back then I would be in a totally different place than I was, because there were so many other outlets that I had, chances to talk to.
Yeah, yeah. And so, any last word that you want to say to the listeners listening?
I think, my most important message is believe in yourself. No matter what your past is, believe in yourself. Believe that there's real good in who you are, that you can change who you are, because so many people believe that they just can't change. They don't have the ability to change. And so they're willing to stay where they are. They're willing to stay stuck because it's easier than taking a chance. It's easier to stay where you are than take that first step in changing who you are. My message to people is be brave, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, love yourself, and take that first step. And if you're afraid to take that first step by yourself, talk to somebody who will hold your hand and help you take that first self. And I'm happy to do it. I know, it's what we do. So if anyone wants to reach out and needs help with that first step, I'm absolutely here to help.
And where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm Unlock the Day. So I'm Warren at unlocktheday.com is my email, but my my website, my Facebook, all of my social media is Unlock the Day. They can certainly find me there.
Yeah, and I'll leave the link below in the caption
Perfect.
video.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking your time and day. I really enjoyed listening to you, and just to get a different perspective um from,
An older guy.
yeah, yeah. I love the variety, and it's just
Yeah.
there's so much wisdom that I can learn from you, you
Yeah.
know.
No, it's great.
So,
I love being here. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
So thank you so much for being on today. And you guys check out Warren. He's on YouTube, Unlock the Day, Instagram, Facebook, and I'll leave the details below. But thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Thanks.